Hello, welcome back to the Trust Your Worth podcast, the podcast that helps you tap in to the power of knowing your worth. My name is Brittany, and thank you for being here today. Last week, we were talking about this amazing book, Platonic, by Marisa G. Franco PhD. Oh my gosh, you guys, this book, it's too much. There's too many good things. I highly recommend that you go and buy this book and read it, especially if you are in a place where you feel lonely, you feel like your relationships, especially your friendships, are kind of on the back burner. You'd like to even make new friends or strengthen your friendships and even your romantic relationships, because there's a key element to this book where she goes through the science of how having great friends enriches your romantic relationships. And really the cultural shift that we need to make in seeing friendship as a second tier relationship that's lesser than a romantic one, because it's not. And actually the science proves, which you will find out if you read this book, that friendship is essential, especially as you get older. Especially as we age, we need our friends more than ever. So let's get on to part 2 of Platonic, how understanding your attachment style can help you make and keep friends. Marisa talks about the idea of having super friends. She's just defining a super friend as your go-to friend, like your significant other friends or like your shovel friends. So the ones you're going to show up at their house and you need help burying the body and they're going to say, "Where's the shovel? Let me help." So these super friends in relationships really to me seem like secure individuals. So Marisa describes them as, quote, "They have better mental health and are more likely to feel like they matter. They are more open to new ideas and harbor less prejudice. They are more satisfied at work and are viewed more positively by coworkers. They feel less regret and are better able to roll with the punches of life. In typically stressful events like math tests or public speaking, they keep calm. They are less likely to have physical ailments like heart attacks, headaches, stomach troubles, inflammation." And how do they find these people? By studying their attachment styles. So we have talked about attachment styles before, but the distinguishing quality of a super friend is that they are secure, that they have security within themselves and they make secure attachments. So there are 3 major attachment styles, so secure, anxious, and avoidant, and I'm just going to go through these real quick. Secure attachment. Secure people assume they are worthy of love and others can be trusted to give it to them. This belief becomes an unconscious template that trickles into all their relationships, leading them to give others the benefit of the doubt, open up, ask for what they need, support others, and assume others like them and achieve intimacy. So that's what a secure person looks like. Basically, they trust their worth, they know what they have to offer others, and are happy to give it to others. And because they know they are loved and wanted, that they are able to give that love to others more easily. And one key thing that I really noticed in this book is that they give others the benefit of the doubt. And the other key thing is that they just assume that others like them. So the other attachment styles struggle to believe that they are likable, and in turn, it affects all their relationships. So, number 2, anxious attachment. People who are anxiously attached assume others will abandon them. To keep themselves from being abandoned, they act clingy, are overly self-sacrificing to accommodate others, or plunge into intimacy too rapidly. So our anxious attachment peeps are people pleasers, and they're more likely to get into a codependent relationship because they go all in too fast without setting any boundaries. So someone who's anxious will just, like, you go to a party and they'll tell you their whole life story and you didn't want to hear it. And they'll tell you the saddest parts of their story. Like, I was abandoned as a kid. I was just dark things that you shouldn't bring up to strangers. They just have no boundaries. And they assume that by trying to be vulnerable, so in their minds, they have this, if I show that I'm vulnerable by telling them all my deepest, darkest secrets, it's going to lead to intimacy quicker, which yes and no. As in, like, yes, it can lead to it quicker if there is authenticity involved with the vulnerability. But when it's just being offered with no boundaries and they're acting out of the fear of abandonment, that can lead to a plethora of issues moving forward in relationships where it can implode or like resentment is created. And I myself suffer from anxious attachments. I am getting better at becoming more secure, but we're going to talk about that later. And third, the avoidant attachments. Avoidantly attached people are similarly afraid others will abandon them, which as an anxious girl, I didn't know, but I didn't realize like our fears were the same. We just react differently. Anyways, but instead of clinging to avoid this outcome, they keep others at a distance. Intimacy signals to them that they could be hurt. So they push away others, eschew vulnerability, and leave relationships prematurely. My poor avoidants. They probably are more lonely because they have inherently less relationships, because the less relationships they have, the less opportunity for them to get hurt. But we are social creatures. We all need people. So avoidants tend to have like one confidant and one person they rely on for their emotional needs, but it's unfair to that person and unfair to you because what are you going to do when that person can't be there for you? And then it reiterates the pattern of thinking like, they weren't there for me, so I should end this now before I get even more hurt. And it's just this vicious cycle. But as we talked about before, attachment, like, yes, it's based on our early attachment experiences with our caretakers, so like our parents. But there is the science that Marisa brings up that it's not all of our parents' fault. So, quote, while early attachment experiences with caretakers do establish expectations about our relationships with people in general, these expectations likely evolve in other relationships, with our parental relationships serving only as a jumping off point. Once you have some experience in the peer group, initial expectations are going to give way to expectations based on actual experience with peers. Or in other words, each new relationship can change your attachment style. Guys, close up. Hope. There's hope that, yes, if some of us have suffered generational trauma, and some of us, as Macy told us in the childhood episode, how we grow up really can give us an unfair advantage. There is hope, especially in this. Hearing this gives me hope that each new relationship can change your attachment style. And I have found this to be true, that when you find your people, when you find the right friends, there are certain things you can only heal within the context of relationships. So having amazing friends can help you heal your attachment styles. And I definitely know that as I have been working on it this year, especially, well, this past year especially, that I have been able to become more secure in all of my relationships by healing it in one, because I know what to do now, and it's super exciting. So it is important to know what kind of attachment style you have and where your assumptions come from. And like she said in the definitions of secure, anxious, and avoidant, when you're secure, you just assume others like you. And in anxious and avoidant, so in insecure attachments, you assume that others will abandon you. So if we can stop the thoughts of abandonment, of the fear that comes from believing that everyone's going to leave you, then that is probably the first step. So we have to kind of understand our assumptions, like recognize when they're happening, and then challenge those assumptions. So she gives some examples of things we assume. So, Quote, when we assume without clear evidence that the only reason someone's reaching out to us is that they're bored and lonely, attachment is at play. When we wait for the shoe to drop in an otherwise happy friendship, attachment is at play. That one, I feel like I've done that where I'm just like, nope, I'm too happy. This is too good. When is this going to end? So I might end it prematurely, or I might just like cling even harder because I'm like, I cannot lose this. They're going to leave me because it's too good. I'm too happy. No. This means that your attachment is triggered and we need to challenge that. Here's another one. Back to the quote. When we feel an overwhelming but mysterious urge to withdraw, attachment is at play. Again, kind of that same idea that, oh, it's going too good. I need to get out of here. I don't know what to do with myself. Then your attachment is at play. Quote, when we assume others will disappoint us, judge us when we're vulnerable, or turn us down when we need support, attachment is at play. When we assume friends don't really like us to begin with, attachment is at play. When we allow people to see only our strong side, our jolly side, or our sarcastic side, attachment is at play. When we maintain relationships with people who mistreat us, attachment is at play. Attachment is what we project onto ambiguity in relationships, and our relationships are rife with ambiguity. It's the gut feeling we use to deduce what's really going on, and this gut feeling is driven not by a cool assessment of events, but by the collapsing of time, the superimposition of the past onto the present. Whoa, big words. I don't even think I know what ambiguity really means, but as I'm reading this, my understanding is that relationships are messy, they are unpredictable, they are uncertain. Let's put it in that term. And we get this gut feeling that something's not right, so my brain has to automatically fix it. So the superimposition of the past onto the present, meaning that we allow our past to dictate what is happening. So we make up things, we fill in the blanks when we don't need to. We make assumptions again. We assume that they don't like us. Like, oh, she didn't message me back. She hates me. She didn't realize that she had a busy day. She was literally working. Had nothing to do with me, but in my mind, I made it about me because of my insecure attachment and fear that they won't like me and the fear of rejection. So I just assumed that she doesn't like me when there was clearly no evidence that she just couldn't reach out at that time. Hopefully you understand what I'm getting at. So there's a great chart in this book, and I'll just give you a couple of examples of behaviors in friendship that are based on attachment. So when you are secure, you are comfortable initiating new friendships. When you're anxious, your fear of rejection impedes the initiation of new friendships. And if you're avoidant, you are uninterested in new friendships at all. A secure person are generous with appropriate boundaries. An anxious person, overly generous to the point of self-depletion. And that avoidance, they just are not generous. Obviously, these are summarizations. You might not be like fully these things, but these are just examples to help you identify maybe where you are coming from in a friendship. And I highly recommend that you just go buy this book and read through these types of attachments. And she gives you all the tools you need to overcome these attachment fears by becoming more secure. So another example, secure people are comfortable providing support. Anxious people, comfortable providing support, but may get overly involved in friends' problems by pushing advice or breaking down. And avoidant, they feel burdened when others need support. So if that sounds like you might be avoidant. So you just sort of rate yourself in these situational things. But I hope that you seek out the tools to become more secure. And secure people, they are kind, they're open, they're trusting, they respond in kind, so they give what they receive, so they read the room basically, and they assume others are trustworthy. they make others trustworthy by their good faith. But when untrusty people weasel through the cracks and cause harm, secure people are less rather than more impacted than the insecure. So if somebody rejects them, let's say like, hey, you want to hang out sometime? Oh, no, I can't. I'm busy. They don't take that personally. Like they just move on. Like, oh, I'm still, how they reacted has nothing to do with my worth. I'm still great. Sure, maybe that person's just not for me today. Totally cool. And they just move on. You can move on. But Marisa talks about what insecure people expect. Quote, insecure people expect others' mistreatment, carrying the lead backpack of suspicion all the time, even when unnecessary. Secure people endure only when others disappoint. Their faith in others also reassures them that they'll have support when disappointed. So she gave an example of this avoidant man who neglected to keep his friends when he started dating his girlfriend. And when the breakup happened, he literally had to go through it alone because he didn't maintain his friendship relationships and he had no one to talk to because he put all his reliance on his girlfriend, which again, unfair to expect one person to fulfill all of your needs, which is why friends are so important. And also that when your support network is one person, if that person isn't there anymore, what are you supposed to do? So he fell into this when he got disappointed by breaking up with his girlfriend. He did not have that support when he needed it the most. So it is important to maintain friendships. As we learned from Friendaholic, the magic number, what did she say? She said between, I think it was 3 to 5. Sorry, I may be misquoting, but I know it's in there. At least 3 to 5 people, significant others. You need support. We are social creatures. Okay, so secure people, they take more risks. So especially in friendship. So I want to ask you this question. What would you do if you could not fail? If you went out to make a friend and you knew 100% you were not going to fail making a friend, who would you talk to? How would you talk to them? I ask myself this a lot. What would a secure person do in this situation? And it has helped me overcome my anxiety in so many things, especially within my relationships. Like sometimes because of my past, I doubt that I have security within my friendships. Sometimes I'm not getting love in the way that I want and need, but a secure person would ask for the things that they want and need to their friends. And not be afraid to, because they know that no matter what they ask, their friend is going to love them and not abandon them. And so I have to go back. A secure person would know, and I have to follow the evidence. How did they show that they loved me? They did this. They did this. That was so kind. They do love me. Like, follow the evidence of their love and support and remember. So that's what as an anxious galley, that helps me a lot to think about the evidences of love, and also asking myself what a secure person would do. But Marisa goes on. The secure live the answer to this question. As mentioned, they're more likely to initiate new friendships, as well as productively address conflict and share intimate things about themselves. These risky behaviors are vital for friendship success. You have to take risks in making friends, and they might pay off and they might not. But imagine how one hello can change your whole life. Like, that literally happened to me with my best friend Zion right now. Like, she came up to me and said hello. And I'm forever grateful because she's now a significant other who I appreciate so much. And I just know I can rely on her for so many things. I don't rely on her for everything because it's unfair to her. But learning your attachment style is going to really, really be helpful. So Marisa goes on to talk about anxious and avoidance and how they can overcome your insecurities specifically. But I know I don't have time. Please just go read this book. Like, I cannot say this enough. Okay. So the second part of this book is the practices to making and keeping friends. So there's 6 things that she talks about that are integral to making friends and learning how to keep them. So number 1 is taking initiative, and it's how to turn strangers into friends. And the science says that making friends as an adult requires initiative. Quote, we have to put ourselves out there and try. It's a process of reaching out over and over again. It's meeting someone we like, and instead of letting the moment pass, hoping they might ask for our phone number, seizing the moment and asking for theirs. In fact, believing that friendships happen organically, that the cosmic energies will bestow a friend upon you, actually hinders people from making friends because it stops them from being intentional about doing so. Close quote. Whoa, guys. So I love that she says that if we just, well, I'm going to put it in the universe, like if it's supposed to happen, the universe will make it happen. No. You know what happens to passive people? Absolutely nothing. They get thrown about by the winds of life. No. If you want a dream life, you have to make it happen. I love the word she uses, intentional. You have to be intentional about doing so. What does that take? Well, the cool thing is you get to choose how you initiate. I know some of you listening are shy. I know it. But it means that you can put yourself out there in ways that are comfortable to you. So what about rekindling an old friendship? Here's a safe way to initiate a friendship is to go through your old friends and catch up with an old one and rekindle that friendship. Someone you haven't talked to in a long time. Or you go to a party, let's say, because your extroverted friend dragged you out to this party. You know you have a limited amount of tokens, but you make a goal of talking to one person in a red shirt. You said, whoever's in a red shirt, if you're going to use the universe, say universe, God, whatever you believe in, I need a friend. Please put them in a red shirt tonight because I'm going to talk to 3 people who are in red shirts. And do your duty. Commit. Trust yourself. Do what you say you're going to do. And start up a little conversation. There are ways to initiate that are safer for you if you have, the shyness, but you have to be intentional about it. There's this thing she talks about called the internal locus of control, which is basically research jargon for taking responsibility for achieving your goals. People with an external locus of control, by contrast, believe their life is determined by forces outside of their control and thus have trouble taking initiative towards reaching their goals. You know what I think about that? When I think about people who have external forces controlling them, I think of a victim mentality. Woe is me. Everything bad happened to me today. Nothing I could do about it. There's always something you can do about it. How you react is the thing that you can do about it. How you rise to the challenges that confront you is something you can do about it. You need to put things back in your control. As we've talked about many times, your worth never changes. So why are we letting external things control how we feel about our worth? You are inherently worthy. That will never change. Whatever new friends you have, you're going to be worthy. You deserve happiness. So having friends makes you happier. So why not take the initiative and go and make some friends? The first step is to initiate friendships. Get out of your comfort zone. You can do it. Join a dance class. You can do it. Join a gym and just talk to one person every time you go to the gym. Could be the same person, but make a new friend. There's so much more she goes into, but I'm just trying to give you the cliff notes, the things that you can think about buying this book. Okay, step 2, you need to express your vulnerability. Okay, what is vulnerability? Quote, vulnerability is the deepest form of authenticity, and it involves sharing the true parts of ourselves that we fear may result in our rejection or alienation. The parts we feel the most shame over. Shame is the sense that our secrets make us unworthy of human connection. It's why when we're vulnerable, it doesn't just feel like our secrets are at stake, but our entire being. Close quote. So it's sharing the dark sides of you and letting those who love you anyway. That I know if I did show up at my best friend's house and I did something awful to someone else and I told them how I did it, that I know they would still love me, even though I did something horrible, that I could be forgiven and redeemed somehow. Don't know what the situation was, but like sharing your darkest, deepest things and knowing that you're loved anyways. Isn't that what we all want? We want to be seen for who we are, our flaws, and loved anyways. And that's, you're going to have to share your vulnerability. She really goes into the importance though of like doing it with authenticity. So like, well, she talks about it later. So when you express vulnerability, it's being able to share your true feelings with someone and being like, hey, this makes me scared. I'm grateful that you're here to help me through it. Also, don't overshare like an anxious person would, where you're just like telling everybody and their dog who will listen all about your pains and everything you go to. Like nobody wants to hear that. You build up trust before you allow people to see your vulnerability. And also basically being vulnerable with the right people. So people you can trust to not throw it back in your face or make you feel guilty of it or judge you for it. Like you just need to find someone who you feel safe to be seen, to be yourself. And also importantly, practice your self-compassion. So being kind to yourself when you are being vulnerable, and keep trying, even though it's scary. Like it brings closeness and it brings intimacy that we're talking about getting to here. Okay, the next one is to deepen your friendship, you need to be authentic. You need to show your true self. And the quicker you show your true self to others, the quicker you're going to find your true friends, because I've been there. I used to dress so people wouldn't see the real me for everyone else's gaze, because I wanted to fit in, but I also didn't want to be super noticeable. I just wanted to be in the middle. So like I was invisible, and I met some great people, but they are not my close friends. They are not my true friends. Because I was different to them. I didn't show my full self, my true self to them. Also, we need to be authentic to others by telling them the truth, but kindly. There's a destructive way to be your authentic self that can be very off-putting, and it's hurtful, and you can just cause problems. So like, for example, oh, what do you think of my haircut? Your haircut sucks. I'm just being blunt, just being honest. No, like there's a difference between being honest and truthful and authentic. Like you don't have to be rude about it, and people use it as a cop out for being mean. Marisa talks about how authenticity flourishes in safety. Quote, it is a state of presence we access when we aren't hijacked by our defense mechanisms. We're not authentic to when we're distracted, multitasking, or saying things on autopilot, like compulsively responding fine to how are you. Authenticity occurs when we access feelings of safety, when we don't feel the need to activate our defenses, even in the face of threat, judgment, rejection, or neglect, among other things. It's who we are when we aren't triggered, when we can make intentional rather than reactive decisions about how we want to show up in the world. So authenticity, to be authentic with people, like your true self around others, is going to take a bit of finding. When you're pursuing authenticity, you know you are being your true authentic self when you do not feel triggered, that you feel safe in their presence. Like I cannot tell you the first time I found someone, one of my best friends, Jeannie, probably the first time I experienced this in my life, for reals. When we became friends, it was like a weight off my shoulder. When I was in her presence, I didn't have to put on any masks. I could be as crazy or sad or as weird. And I felt completely safe to be exactly who I was in that moment, knowing that she loved me and she cared about me. And I'm so grateful. Like having that having a person like that where you can just go to every day and just have that weight off, where you don't have to have a mask, period, with that person. That's what you're looking for with authenticity. Like, and also, like, you can be honest about how you're feeling. Like, your friends need that, like, because it creates resentment when you are not being authentic with them and being like, and talking about your feelings. And as an anxious girly, I struggle with this. Just, I bottle up my feelings. I don't tell them how I really felt in the moment. And I'm trying to be better about it, but like addressing it quickly instead of letting my feelings fester. So, for example, if somebody said something that hurts my feelings, most times it was like, oh, they didn't mean it, I'll just let it go. So now I try and confront it and be like, hey, what you said kind of hurt my feelings. Is there any way you could say that differently? Because I'm just not maybe I'm just not understanding what you're saying. So learning ways to communicate how others affect me. But there's no way I could have got to that place of being able to help them recognize how their actions are making me feel in the moment. And I'm speaking up more and making sure that we're both trying to get to a place of understanding and love. So it's like dealing with conflict in safer ways, if that makes sense. You have to do it authentically. You have to be true to yourself. So there's a couple things she talks about in being authentic. So try and avoid projection. So that would be like giving unsolicited advice or blaming yourself for things you had nothing to do with. And also not taking rejection personally. So like when people say no, it could mean so many things, but you have no idea. You cannot read their minds. So stop trying to read other people's minds and either get more information or move on. Like, if they don't want to be a part of your world, that's okay. You don't need them. You have everything you need to be happy. And making friends can just add to your happiness if you want it to. So try to be authentic. Third thing is how to communicate in conflict. Like, I need a whole episode to talk about conflict, but just the main takeaways I'd say is learn to do conflict well. So soothe your feelings and try and communicate kindly without getting defensive. So the exercise I talked about where you really want to be heard, de-escalating. Go in not defensively, but learning how to resolve conflict in your friendships is going to help you in every relationship. The next thing is to offer generosity, especially as anxious galleys. As anxious people, you overgive. I know you do. You know how I know? Because I do it. So there needs to be reciprocity with generosity, and especially if there's imbalances of power, just be careful about how much you're giving and why. Like, obviously be generous to your friends. Like, if you want to take them out to eat, do it. Like, but have clear boundaries. And again, when there's an imbalance of power, so like, let's say one of you is a lot more wealthier, that can create resentment on both sides. Like, oh, I'm giving, and they never give me anything. That's not true. They give in other ways and in the ways they can. Or like, maybe the other person is like, oh, I feel like they're buying my friendship. Like, they're just paying for too much. So like, communicating clearly in boundaries, and then like give when you want and be generous with your friends. And it's just a way to show your love. But do it with boundaries. The next one is giving affection. You need to know how to give and receive love within your friendships. And you need to know your friends and loved ones' love languages. So you know me. I love them hugs. I love to snuggle. And I also love quality time. So sometimes I wish it wasn't quality time because it takes a lot of time for me to feel invested in a friendship. But, it's great to have those needs met with, different friends. And affection, shows people that they are loved. So here are some examples just real quickly. Tell them how much they mean to you. When they reach out, tell them how happy you are to hear from them. Be excited at their good news. Compliment them. Praise their hard work. Greet them warmly. Let them know when they share something that's meaningful to you. Tell them when you think of them in passing. Tell other people how great you think they are. Let them know when they impress you. Tell them they'll succeed in reaching their dreams. Tell them when you think they have a great idea. Smile at them genuinely and remind them you are grateful to know them. And sometimes your friends are going to suck at receiving love because of their past experiences. They might get awkward and they might clam up, but it doesn't mean you should stop telling them. Maybe you just need to find out the way they want to receive it. And if that's a conversation you need to have, totally do that. Like, you need to know your friends' boundaries so that they know that you appreciate them and that you care about how they want to receive love and not just give it how you want to give it. Because it needs to go both ways. Like, have that important conversation, but always let them know that you love them in the ways that you can and in the ways that they want to receive it. Oh my gosh, there's too many things. This book was incredible. There's just not enough time to talk about this book. I 100% know when I do my friendship series again, I will be talking about this book. I 10 out of 10 recommend this book, Platonic by Marisa G. Franco PhD. Please go read it. It's going to help you identify ways that you can create a support system that will just add so much to your happiness. I truly know and believe the importance of friendship and how integral they are to creating the best you and the best dream life. We are meant to share our lives with others. You are meant to be loved by so many, and you are meant to love so many others too. Love is all around us, and friendship is just as worthy and deserving as a top tier type of relationship as a family member or your significant romantic other. You deserve to have significant others who love you and know you and see you and appreciate you for who you are. And I know you're going to find them. Okay, your work this week, you got to make a friend. You got to do it or start it. You have to make a friend within this week, but I want you to take the initiative and get out there and meet someone new and be intentional about making a friend, because you might find your next significant other within this challenge. And I hope that you do this work this week, because I promise you it could change your life for the better. Good luck. Again, choose how you want to initiate. It doesn't have to be big or crazy. And also, we'll accept rekindling a relationship that you had previously. Reach out to an old friend that you're like, hey, it's been forever. Please catch me up on your life. I would love to hear about it. Okay? So I hope you enjoy your work this week. And thank you so much for listening. As always, you can find me on Instagram at Trust Your Worth Podcast. And you can find me on my website at www.trustyourworth.com. If no one has told you today, you deserve awesome friends. And I know you're going to find them. You're going to find your tribe. Don't you worry. They're out there. They're waiting for you to initiate. Okay? All right. Thank you again. I love you so much. Please tune in next week. It's gonna be awesome. I am having a super special guest, and it is the season finale. Oh my gosh, you guys, 50 episodes. Wow, we've done it. So my best friend Zion is going to be here for the finishing up of our friendship segment for this time. And we are finishing season 1. And I genuinely, to all my listeners, I love you so much. Thank you for listening, for making this possible. I love doing this, and I hope that you do too, and that you get something out of it, something that helps you feel loved and feel worthy, and that you take away something that is meaningful to you, because that's all I want from this podcast, is to spread the love and to remind people of their worth. So I hope you know how worthy you are. And I hope that you really do trust your worth. Okay, thank you so much for listening and have a great day. Love you. Bye.